about now? Can you hear me? I think I just fixed it. So I was just saying before I got the sound back is that, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So I was an engineer for 7 years working at the Ministry of Transportation. And during that time, that's when I decided I wanted to pursue a career in holistic nutrition. So to do that, I was working full-time, 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and then going to school in the evenings and studying in the evenings, and also maintaining my old blog, which is Out to Lunch Creations. I don't know if any of you guys were around in my Out to Lunch Creations days, but that's when I started blogging way back in 2011, so it's been quite some time. So while I was doing that, I was super busy, but I still really wanted to eat healthy because I knew how important it was. But when you're working and you're busy, you just feel like there's no time for it. So that's why this is so passionate. Something I really like to talk about is because I've been there. I've been that super busy, crazy moment of my life, and I've made healthy eating work. So I'm sharing with you all of those time-saving tips that I developed over the years that I was working full-time, studying part-time, and trying to maintain a website and a life. It was a lot. I was going lots and lots happening. So that's why I love to share this with you. So I'll go back to the slides now. All right, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the art of meal planning. So meal planning was the #1 thing that got me through working full-time and studying part-time. And I love meal planning really for a variety of reasons. #1, yeah, it's a huge time saver. It takes a bit of time to plan out your meals for the week, but once that's done, it takes the decision away. By the time you get home from work, you're so tired, you've been making decisions all day. The last thing you want to do is to get home and make more decisions about what to eat for dinner. If you have it all planned out, you just get home, you know what you're making, you have all the ingredients, you can just get to it and make a really healthy meal. The second thing I love about it is that it actually forces you to eat healthy. Because if you've taken the time to plan out your meals, get all the groceries, they're sitting in your fridge ready to go, you're going to have to make them or else the food's going to go bad, right? So it really encourages healthy eating because you have all the recipes, have all the stuff you need to make it. All you have to do is make it. So you're a lot less likely to order takeout or grab takeout on the way home or go to a restaurant. Or you know what I used to do in university? Eat popcorn for dinner. No joke. I was too lazy to make food. I just eat a bag of popcorn. Awful, but I'm sure we've all been there. But if you meal plan, it's all planned out for you. It's all ready to go. So you have to make it or else it's a huge waste and then the food starts going bad in your fridge. So the first thing to do for meal planning is to look at your calendars and plan out the meals you need to prepare for the week. Now, if you're new to meal planning, I really suggest easing into it and just maybe planning out a couple meals a week or maybe just breakfasts or dinners or something that seems like an easy thing to start. Because sometimes starting all in one go is very overwhelming. So take a look at your calendar and figure out what you need to be doing for the next few days. Figure out if you need breakfast on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but maybe you don't Friday because your office has a breakfast meeting. And then maybe you need lunch Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday you have a client meeting over lunch, so you don't need lunch that day. And then plan out your evenings as well. So maybe you know that Tuesday, right after work, you're going to a yoga class, so you're going to need a really quick dinner after and a really good snack before. So look at your calendar, figure out what's going on for you so that when you do your meal plan, it makes a lot of sense. You know where you need to fill stuff in. The next thing you want to do is you want to get inspired. So this can be the tough part for people. This is the time when you start looking in your cookbooks. You go online and you ask your family for ideas. So I'm sure you have cookbooks in your house that you probably haven't used in a long time. Well, now it is time to break out those cookbooks. Get them out and see what is in there. Look, I have so many cookbooks here, and I tell you, I don't use them that often, as much as I'd want to anyways. So get into your cookbooks and get creative. And a really cool thing to do when you are meal planning is just to pick like 1 or 2 cookbooks and do the whole week based on those. Because authors tend to use a lot of the same ingredients over and over. So this will make your grocery list a lot shorter. Another thing you can do is go online and get inspired. So my website, there's lots of great recipes there. There's also Pinterest. I don't know if you guys are into Pinterest, but I absolutely love Pinterest. It's so much fun. And I have some great recipes pinned on my Pinterest board. So if you go to my Pinterest, I think it's Pinterest.com/Jessie L Wellness. You can follow me there and see all of the recipes I have pinned, and they're under categories like breakfast, snacks, lunches, dinner, stuff like that. So really easy to find. And then the last thing you want to do is just to ask your family what they're craving. Because sometimes looking at this big sheet of all these meals that need to be filled in can be really overwhelming. So if you ask your family for their input, maybe someone's craving tacos, so you find a recipe for healthy lettuce wrapped tacos. Maybe someone else wants mac and cheese, so you can make gluten-free pasta with like a cauliflower, cheese, vegan sauce deliciousness or something like that. So ask your family for inspiration as well. The next thing you want to do is to add every single meal into your calendar. So now that you have collected all the meals and you've got it going, it's time to start adding them in. So Monday I'm having this for breakfast. Monday I'm having this for lunch. Monday I'm having this for dinner. Tuesday I'm having this for breakfast, and so on and so forth. Just start filling out that calendar. And this is just an example of one that I've given to clients in the past. Now this calendar has a lot of variety, this meal plan. I have something different almost every day because that's what my client asked for. For some people, this would seriously just not be something that's doable because there's way too many things in there. Personally, when I do my own meal plans, I usually eat the same thing for breakfast every day of the week. And for lunch, I'll either do dinner leftovers or I'll have a big salad every day for lunch that I make at the beginning of the week. So it doesn't have to look like this with all this variety, but it can if you want it to. And then the next thing you want to do is just to make a list. So making a list will save you a lot of time. When you go into the grocery store with a list, you have a plan, everything is ready to go, and you can just get in and get out with all the stuff that you need to make your meal. So I really like this. It saves you time grocery shopping. You're not going to meander down the aisles, see what's on sale, maybe throw some chips into your basket, maybe throw some other stuff, and just kind of lollygag yourself through. You're going to be really focused while you're in the grocery store. So those are my big main tips, but I have some other really great ones too that are also going to help you save time. So we'll get into those now. If there's any questions, don't forget you can go back to my website since we're on YouTube today and type in those questions. I know there's some people who ask questions at the very beginning and I will get to those at the end. Don't worry. But if there's questions that come up in the middle, feel free to write them down. That's the good thing about being live. All right, so some more time-saving tips. Ooh, pantry staples. That is a great question. Someone's asking if I have some pantry staples. You know what? We're going to get to that. That's, I think, a couple slides from now, so we'll talk about that for sure. That's a great one. So the first thing on here is to take time to peel, chop, and organize your produce for the week. Now, I really like to emphasize this one because when you get home from the grocery store, you can do a lot of stuff. So it's a really good time to take out all of your products that you're using, at least until like Thursday. You wouldn't want to go into the weekend because then it will start to brown. But wash them really well, peel them if you're going to peel them, chop them up, and put them in containers so that when you get home and you're tired and it's time to cook dinner, you're basically, all the prep work is done and you're just dumping stuff in. It's like you have a magical sous chef who just appeared. So I really like to do that when I am cooking. The next thing I like to do is to batch cook. So that means cooking a whole bunch of things at the same time. So if you know you're going to have rice a couple times a week, then make a big thing of rice and save it so that during the week when you need your rice, it's already made. And you can do this with proteins as well. So we have a great question here. Someone has asked, how do you store fruits for ultimate freshness? And yes, this question you asked at the beginning, and I'm happy you asked it again. So that is a really good question because that's a big concern, right? You don't want to spend all this money on fruits and vegetables and then have them go bad. Realistically, fresh fruits and vegetables only last 5 to 7 days. So unfortunately, I find you still have to do a grocery shop once a week if you want fresh produce. But some tips to keep them nice and fresh. If it's something with roots, you can actually store it in water. So celery, stored in water works really well. Green onions, stuff like that. If you put them in just a little bit, not a lot of water, just enough so that the roots can still suck that up, they'll last a lot longer. You also want to make sure if you're storing them in bags that you don't have any extra moisture. So you can do something like put it, I use like a J-cloth because I find paper towel gets a little bit wasteful. So I put a J-cloth around like lettuce and more things that tend to wilt, just to absorb the extra liquid so they stay nice and crisp. Another thing you can do, and I've heard this done, I haven't done it myself, but if you get a really nice, you know those old school, I think they're iron, like turkey pans? Those store things in the fridge really well because they're extra cold. So using your crispers and making sure those are nice and cold is a great way to make your fruits and vegetables last longer. And someone else is asking, you mentioned batch cooking grains. Are there any that are the best for batch cooking? Yes, definitely. So you can totally batch cook rice. It'll last at least 4 days for sure. Quinoa is another one, probably up to 5 days. Amaranth and millet, again, 4 to 5 days. So they're all pretty good. They're not going to do the entire week for you, but they're going to get you pretty far. And depending on how adventurous you are, you can always stretch it. So just give it a sniff. If it smells okay, then you're probably good with those grains. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is use a slow cooker and make meals ahead of time. So slow cooker is awesome because the night before you can prep everything so that all you have to do when you're ready to cook is throw it in the slow cooker in the morning, turn it on, you come home to a nice, hot, delicious meal and the house smells awesome. I love using a slow cooker. More so in the winter just because in the summer you don't really need hot meals as much. So slow cooker is really great options. And then making stuff ahead of time. So if you have time on Sunday, what I sometimes like to do is, you know, maybe turn on Netflix, put in a podcast or get some music so I can dance around in the kitchen. I do all my chopping for the week and I prep some of the meals I know that will last long. Stuff like soups, stews, even with salads. When I worked, I used to have salad every single day for lunch. And I would make my salad in these huge salad bowls, 5 of them, that I'd line up the fridge. I'd put them in the back of the fridge so they stayed extra cold, and I'd leave the dressing separate. So in the morning, all I had to do was grab the salad, grab the dressing, and head off to work. By Friday, I have to say my salads were looking like a little bit limp and sad, but I still ate them. So you can get away with it. Or sometimes I would do like leftovers on Friday, something like that. All right, so the next tip is to double, triple, or even quadruple your recipes. And the reason I recommend doing this is because making one recipe or versus making 2 recipes is really not a big difference in time. If you're cutting an extra carrot, it doesn't take you extra time. If you were to have to another day take out the cutting board, clean a carrot, cut a carrot, it takes way more time. So I do like to always make double, triple, or even quadruple. And what you can do, it really just depends on the size of your family. If it's double, something you can eat for a couple days. You can have it for lunch the next day, dinner the day after, and then lunch again, just to add some variety into your diet. Or you can make a big batch of something, eat half of it, and then freeze the second half in personal-sized portions. That way, when you have a super busy night, the morning before, you can take this single portion out of the fridge, out of the freezer, put it in the fridge, and then you can heat it up really quickly on the stove when you get home from work. So I strongly recommend always doubling the recipe, always having every meal at least twice, because it's more efficient in the kitchen for sure. And we have another fabulous question down here. How did you keep the lettuce from wilting when you prepared it ahead of time? Did you keep it in a Tupperware? Yes. So what I did when I made my salads for the full week is I'd put like the wetter, heavier vegetables on the bottom, and then I put the lettuce on top. Sometimes if I thought it was going to go bad, I'd do that for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday salads, and Thursday salads, I'd keep the lettuce by itself in a bag with the J-cloth to absorb that extra liquid. And I found that worked really well. And then Thursday morning, I would just grab a couple handfuls of lettuce, throw it on top, and then I'd be done. Yeah. Okay. Trying to go fast so that we don't go over time. So my next tip is to stock your pantry with foods you use every day. So we had a question about this. What do I do in my pantry? Well, it really just depends on what kind of foods that you are making a lot of. So things that I really like to make a lot of are things like rice. I love brown rice, so I always have that in my pantry. I love quinoa, so I always have quinoa. I like to make sure I have lots of other grains like millet, amaranth, because those are kind of things that you can have on your shelf. You can buy in bulk, and they're not going to go bad. I also like to make sure I have lots of nuts and seeds because I use them all the time in my salads. I find them so, so helpful. A really great way to get protein in salads, breakfast, snacks, just all the time. And I also like to make sure I have really good oils on hand. So really good coconut oil, I use that all the time. I love a really nice cold pressed extra virgin olive oil that I use. I like to use grapeseed oil sometimes if I'm doing high heat cooking and I don't want to use the coconut oil for the flavor. And I like to have lots of different vinegars, especially apple cider vinegar. I love apple cider vinegar. So, so good. Okay, so I have one last tip for you before we go on to our summary. I think we're going to run a little bit longer than I promised. So the last one is to organize your kitchen so everything is easy to find and to reach. So what I mean when I say this is that depending on the size of your kitchen, you want to make sure that it flows really nicely. So you have to think about where you are in the kitchen and where things need to be. If your stove is here, but your spatulas are all the way over here, and every time you need a spatula, you're moving around all the time, it's going to start to get annoying, right? So if you can put a nice thing of spatulas beside the stove, it'll make things a lot easier. So the next time you're cooking, just think about kind of how you're moving around your kitchen and think about where you can maybe put stuff that will make that a lot easier for you. And we had a question down here. Do you freeze your meals that are cooked in a batch? You can. I like to freeze them based on how many servings I think I'm going to need. So usually with us, it's just my husband and I, so I like to do it in twos, and that way it's like one meal is frozen. So if you're a family of 4, then maybe you'd want to freeze like 4 servings worth and at once. If you're living by yourself, then maybe doing a single serving would make more sense. So I kind of like to do it in a meal-based way, and that way you're just taking out of the freezer what you need for one meal. I find that's the easiest. But again, it's something you can play around with because you can always do a 4-serving thing and then have it for a couple days as well. So I find that that's just what I like to do. So now I told you I'd tell you about my cookbook. I'm always excited to talk about it. It's brand new. It's called Healthy Fresh Salads. And I love this cookbook because it's such a great source of inspiration for recipes, especially to get those veggies in. If you eat a salad with every single meal, then you actually increase your veggie intake by 25%. That's a lot. So salads are so important, and my cookbook is so good at helping with that. So this is the print version, which is available on Amazon. Right now, it's actually only on Amazon.com, but it should be on .ca any day now. So if you're a print version person, you can get that just like this, and there's just tons of recipes in here, all really filling, balanced salad recipes that will keep you full. So these are good enough to be lunch, which is really, really good. It's a really nice way to get veggies in the middle of the day. So that is a great source, and that will be a really easy way for you to start filling out your meal plans as well. It has over 30 recipes. All of them are really creative. They're not boring. They're really interesting salad recipes, so I know you will just love them. And it's not even that expensive. The digital copy is only $8, so really, really quick and easy way to get salads starting tomorrow. And then on Amazon, it is $16 US and about 20 to 21 Canadian. So I'm just going to do a quick little summary here. So the things we talked about for time saving were plan your meals for the week. So get that meal plan out. Plan out what you're having for every single meal of the week so that it's all there ready to go when you get home from work. Prep your veggies when you get home from the grocery store. Get them all ready so you're magically done, sous chefs, all ready to go when you get home. Batch cook grains and proteins ahead of time because those are the things that usually take a little bit longer to cook. Make meals ahead of time, especially for those busy nights you know are coming up, so you can make them in advance. Double or even triple your recipe so you always have leftovers. Stock your pantry with stuff that you use all the time. It'll save you time in the grocery store and when you're cooking and when you're meal planning. And finally, organize your kitchen so it flows really nicely. So now I have a challenge for you. I want you, oh, I love it. Someone just said, I have all your cookbooks. All those watching, do not miss this. It is awesome. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. So my challenge for you is to choose one of the time-saving tips that we talked about. So here's the summary. and I want you to try it out. And I want to know how it goes for you. So now is the time to go into the comment section and let me know which tip you're going to try. Because if you announce it publicly, then you're more likely to actually do it, right? So I can't wait to hear which ones you guys want to do. And then I want to know. So if you try them and it works and you like it, or if you try it and you're struggling, send me an email. I want to hear from you. My email is info@jessielanewellness.com. Oh, someone else is saying, this talk is awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. You guys are so sweet. So I want to know how this works for you. So go down to the comments and let me know what you're going to do, what time-saving tips you're going to use next week or later this week to help save you time but still eat healthy. And while you guys make those comments, I'm just going to answer a question that came up. Someone asked, how long do those frozen meals last in the freezer? A few months? Yeah, I would say I usually like to freeze things for maybe up to 3 months. Once it starts developing like a freezer burn, then it starts to taste weird and I don't know, it gets kind of scary. It's important to put a label. So just label it, put like, if you're, whatever you're storing it in, put like a little label that says the date that you've made it. And sometimes it's nice to say what it is, because sometimes when you have a lot of frozen stuff in the freezer, you get all mixed up and you forget what you put in there. So I highly recommend putting what it is as well. It's a good way to go. Awesome. So I'm so excited for you guys to go out and try these things and see how it works. This was such a great time. I still finished on time, which is great. But since we were a little bit rushed today, I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. So please, I will hang out for the next 5-10 minutes and answer any questions you have. But before you go, don't forget to check out my cookbook on Amazon, or you can go to jessielanewellness.com/healthy-fresh-salads. And then you can also find me on social media as @JessieL_Wellness. I love social media. I have so much fun in there. So please check me out, see what I'm up to. I really love Instagram so much. Oh, awesome. I have someone saying, I'm definitely going to batch cook. You are the best. Can't wait for the next webinar. Thank you so much. I love doing these webinars. They're so much fun for me. I don't know when the next one is going to be. I think I just scheduled it for September something. However, 2 weeks from now, I'm doing a live cooking class. I'm going to show you how to make my vegan ranch salad. So I don't have the link to sign up for that yet, but you will be getting it very soon. And that's going to be a really fun live online cooking class. So similar to this, we'll be live. You can ask questions while we're cooking, and we're going to make a delicious salad with vegan ranch dressing, because I can't really have dairy, but I love ranch dressing, so that's why I created that recipe. Someone else is saying, I'm going to prep my veggies. Yes, that is a great one. I am so excited to hear how that goes. It saves you so much time. And a little trick for that is with stuff that's really watery, like carrots and celery, I suggest prepping them and then having them soak in cold water. And that will keep them really crisp. But 2 separate containers, because if you put the celery and the carrot in the same container, the flavors mingle in a very strange way. So you'll have a carrot container and a celery container, and it'll stay really crisp, which is awesome. What is a J-cloth? Great question. It's just like this cheap cloth that you can buy. You'll see at the grocery store. It's like white and blue, and it has these like zigzag patterns. It's pretty absorbent. I really like to use it because, again, it's really cheap to buy, but you can reuse it. So when you're using paper towel, you use it once, you throw it out, it goes in the landfill, it contributes to all these global issues that we're having. If you use J-Claws, you can use it once and then wash it, and then use it again, and then wash it, and use it again, and then wash it. So you could just use a tea towel, would work just as well. It doesn't have to be a J-Cloth. That just tends to be what I buy, because you can get like a big package with like a ton of them for like $1. It's really cheap. So if you guys have any more questions, I would be happy to answer them. But for those who need to go, thank you guys so much for coming. I've had such a pleasure speaking to you tonight, and I really hope that you're able to apply these time-saving tips into your day and into your week next week, so you can start saving time but eating lots of healthy food. But I'm still going to stick around, so if there's still questions, I'll just take a sip of water and wait. And by sip, I mean chug. I get so thirsty when I do webinars. Cool. I don't see any other questions coming up. I'll give you guys a few more moments. But it was so much fun chatting with you. And don't forget, you can check out my cookbook. I'm so excited that it's in print. It's so pretty. I'll show you the salad. This is the one we're making in the live cooking class. It's also in the Healthy Eating on a Budget ebook that you guys all received too. So it's in there, but it's also in here. This is what we're making. It's so yummy. So that's next 2 Tuesdays from now, 2 weeks from now. Oh, really great question. Any thoughts on healthy eating but filling or healthy filling snacks for work? That is a question I get all the time. Honestly, I should just do a webinar on it. I should write this down because I'm going to forget. But some of my favorite ones for work, one of my favorite all-time ones for work, and what I used to eat a lot of was trail mix. Because you can get a ton of it. You can go to the bulk barn or any bulk store and get whatever nuts and seeds and superfoods you want, throw it all together, and it'll last in your desk for like a month. So I really, really love trail mix for a work snack. And I have a superfood trail mix recipe on my website. So if you go to my website and look under snacks and apps, then you'll be able to find that recipe. It's so good. I have like golden berries and like all these fun things in there. But it's really just what your tastes are. Other ones I really like is I really enjoy Lar bars. Those are good. It's just a fruit and nut bar. There's no any preservatives and stuff like that. You can buy them at Costco, so it's a lot cheaper. Although the Costco flavors are like the chocolate chip flavor, but you can get them at Costco, which is a lot cheaper, or you can just buy them in bulk online. So I do like those, again, because they last for a long time in your desk. If you have access to a fridge, then it's really nice to leave maybe some almond butter in the fridge. And then you can bring in an apple every day for a snack, and then have apple and almond butter for your snack. I really like doing that. And when I do it, I don't even cut up my apple. I literally take a bite out of it, take my knife, dip it in the almond butter, smush it on the apple, take a bite, take my knife, dip it in the almond butter, smush it on the apple, because if it's at work and I have my name on it, nobody else is supposed to be using that. So if I'm quadruple, triple dipping, then who cares? And then you don't have to cut stuff and make more mess. So I really like doing that when I was at work. So those are my top 2. Hummus is another great one. Again, you would leave the hummus in the fridge. You can make a big batch on Sunday, like a huge Tupperware full, leave it in the fridge, and then every day just bring in carrots, celery, tomatoes, peppers, peas, whatever you want to dip it in. Yeah. That is a really great question. Someone's asking, what slow cooker cookbooks do you recommend? Buy that cookbook. You know what? It's on my list of things to do to create a slow cooker cookbook, because you are not the first person who's asked me about that. I have one here, but you know what? I don't know if I'd recommend it. It's good, but it uses a lot of unhealthy ingredients. I got it as a gift. So I ended up using this as my guide and then doing a lot of swap outs, because a lot of them have ketchup or like weird things like panko breadcrumbs. I don't know what else is in here. There's just always ingredients in here that I'm like, don't really want to use that. And then I just make it my own. So unfortunately, I don't have a slow cooker cookbook that I can recommend to you right now. But if you wait for a couple of years, maybe I'll come out with one. I haven't made it yet, though. It's on my list. But I have 4 more cookbooks I'm coming out with first, because they're already done. But yeah, I need to do that slow cooker because it's so good. But I do have on my Pinterest board, I have a slow cooker like board. So you can check out the recipes I've pinned there, because they're nice, healthy ones on that. All right. Is there any more questions? Anything I can help you with? I'm going to sign off in like a minute or 2. So if you have a question, ask it right now.